Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle Podcast. Where we share stories of grit, growth, and greatness from Huntsville's small business scene. I'm really excited because I got my friend Amy Bailey here. She's the driving force behind Huntsville City Lifestyle Magazine. And if you don't know Amy, you should make that a goal of yours this year. So, Amy, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
That's right. Yeah, I'll tell you, people, you need to know Amy Bailey. She's an awesome person. She's all about community, and that's kind of one of the reasons she started this magazine. So I want to give you a two-part question about this. So, what inspired you to start Huntsville City Lifestyle, and how does it reflect your vision of this community that you like?
Well, it's kind of a unique story because I have been in media and marketing since college and worked at different magazines, Southern Living. At one point in time, I moved to New York to work for Us Weekly, which was an incredible experience. Moved back, worked for Birmingham Magazine, and then eventually started my own online magazine, which was geared towards the Southern woman. And then, for 10 years, when I moved back to Huntsville for 10 years, I did more freelance work, concentrated on family. And then during the pandemic, I started noticing these different beautiful publications popping up. Some were local, some were national, international. And I thought to myself, isn't this interesting? Because 10 years ago or more, we were told that print was dead. And so, what is this trend that's happening? And to me, it said that as much as we love the screen and we need the screen, there's something happening here where people want something more tangible. And of course, I've always loved print. I think print is beautiful, the way it tells a story, the way you can immerse in photos that are in print. And so I actually began toying with the idea of doing an annual publication geared towards the Southern woman. And my friend, Lindsay Patillo Keene, she knew about this. And of course, she knew my experience and background. She had a friend in Birmingham who was publishing Birmingham City Lifestyle. And so we sat down and had coffee, and she said, the parent company wants to come to Huntsville. And I told them the person they needed to talk to was Amy Bailey. And I said, well, Lindsay, I'm working on something else, but I'll think of people that would be good to do this. And so I even made a list of people I thought would be great at doing a city magazine. And every single one of those people said, no, I don't want to do that. And I made an appointment to talk with the publisher in Birmingham, and then the parent company wanted to talk to me. So those conversations began happening. And every single time in my head, there was a hard no. I felt as if something was shifting me in this direction. And so I really think it was a God thing. Every time I wanted to say no, he wanted me to say yes. And there was this moment, of course, I prayed through the whole thing and I prayed for a sign and all those things. And my husband and I went to church one Sunday, and the sermon series, which typically, they're on forgiveness, God's love. The sermon series that Sunday was Learn from the Locals. And I just nudged him and I was like, well, I guess I'm doing this. And so here we are. And when I made the decision to move forward with it, I wanted to launch pretty quickly. And we launched in February of 23. There's a unique little thing that happened. So I wanted to launch in January. I thought we need to do this. We need to do this fast. And I consulted different mentors in town. And one of those was Martha Pullen. And when I told her I wanted to launch in January, anyone that knows Martha Pullen knows that she gives it to you straight. She looked at me and she said, honey, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to let go of that idea. Do this well. It needs to come out right. And you don't need to put that kind of pressure on yourself. I ended up launching in February, and now we're coming up on 2 years. So that was February 23, and here we are.
Wow. Man, I can't believe it's been that long. I remember it was just kind of an idea you were going to do, and man, you just ran with it. So
I know.
Martha was right, though. You guys crushed it right out the gate. So it was worth the wait on that one. So you mentioned earlier that there's Birmingham, there's kind of these regional and local publications. How do you describe to other people what sets yours apart?
Well, I think Huntsville is such a unique city in the South. We have this incredible history of farming plus, rockets and, the incredible military community here. I think that sets us apart. All the incredible defense companies and tech companies and the way we're growing. I mean, it is undeniable how fast this city is growing, how many people love this city, whether they have been here for generations or recently moved here. And I think people feel that. And so with every issue, we just try to really capture how much people love this community.
Yeah, Huntsville is a special place. So you are in the right place with the right magazine, doing the right things. So on the business side, what makes it such a good place to have a magazine on the business side around Huntsville?
I mean, there's so many small businesses. And again, those stories, we have incredible stories here. And so whether you're someone who moved here from another part of the country and saw this blank canvas for your business, or you're someone who is a second generation rocket scientist, it is just, I cannot describe what an incredible place it is. And to be able to tell those stories, especially in a world where a lot of media these days tends to be negative, and to showcase, no, this is who our community is, and this is how we work together and welcome new ideas, new people. I feel truly blessed to be able to do what we're doing.
And you guys do a great job with finding the right people to collaborate with and strategic partnerships and things like that. How do you go about choosing those people that you work with? Who's a good fit for the magazine?
So with every issue, we're monthly. And so that definitely makes us unique because we are the only monthly. We're able to have themes for every single month. Some of those can be kind of generic themes, like December is holiday, January's wellness. We've got May, our women's issue, June, our men's issue, October is our food issue. And so with each of those themes, we're able to dive a little deeper and concentrate on those different themes, and then that really gives advertisers a different opportunity. Maybe it's the May women's issue and we feature different female restaurateurs. And then again, with the October food issue, there's another opportunity there. And so with all of our partners, we try to keep advertising and editorial separate, meaning that there's so many stories. We want to connect with the reader and make sure people are actually reading our magazine and really looking forward to receiving it. And so we want to be good to our advertisers, and we just try to do that in a more creative way because we don't want to just say, here's a business profile. We want to tell you who the person is behind the business.
And you guys do an amazing job on that. So you and your staff do such a good job of getting down deep to what the person's all about, what their business is all about. I think that's what people want to know when they patronize a business. Why does this person do what they do? And you guys are great about sharing that story, and that's what people want to hear, I think. If you could change one thing, we talked about the positive stuff. If you could change one thing about the local business environment, or even on the media side, what would you change for Huntsville?
Well, going back to that, the church and state of advertising versus editorial, I think, for a long time, a lot of our publications were, you pay to play. And again, we want to treat our advertisers well. We want to tell their stories, but we also want to make sure that advertising and editorial, those are separate things because I think the reader, they to feel more connected and to be able to tell those stories and not feel like, oh, well, that person just paid for that spot. So trying to kind of break that barrier and say, we're going back to more traditional journalism in which advertising would be kept separately.
And that's where you came from. That's the world you come from. So that would make sense that you run it like that. So I know everyone has their pain points in their business. What's your biggest struggle right now with running the magazine?
Goodness. Well, we just hit a major goal that we had in December. And so that was very just gratifying and validating. And so to keep that momentum going, to keep being able to give these fresh stories that don't feel stagnant and to tell people things they don't know. I was born and raised a Huntsvillian. And so a lot of times I feel like I know everything going on in the city, but I do not. And so I learned that with every issue because there's always, always something new and interesting to tell.
There you go. Oh, I hear the January 2025 issue is probably going to be the best issue ever created of any magazine. Just putting that out there. This is gonna
Right?
just so you guys know, if you don't have a copy of that, go pick it up right now. It's gonna blow your mind. Just putting that out there. So you have some challenges out there, and you shared one of you reached one of your milestone moments. What was there a moment along the way where you kind of felt like, hey, we're making an impact here in the city?
When people started coming up to me and telling me, "I love your magazine." I had right when the magazine came out, well, probably a couple months in, I began having neighbors stop me as I was on my morning walk to tell me how much they love the magazine. Recently in December, we did an article called Not Home for the Holidays, in which we featured people who have to work through the holidays. And so that included TSA, the police, big box retailers like Home Depot. And we profiled this one woman that works at Home Depot that is just, she's incredible. When you go into Home Depot, you hear her laugh, you hear her enthusiasm. She is so helpful. And so she was the one that we profiled for the big box retailer. And when we posted that story on social media, the response from readers who said, "I love her. She is my favorite. I just love her." I just felt like, we're doing something here. We're really making people feel good about this town.
Absolutely. And if you guys haven't checked that out, go check it out. Get the physical magazine or check it on social media. I think what a big part of that is it's going to help you be nicer through the holidays because there are people that are working when you're off work and you're going in somewhere like Home Depot. That person still has to work. They're away from their family. Hear those stories. I think it's going to help you a little bit. So we all have our struggles along the way. Was there ever a moment you thought about, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna quit trying to make this magazine work?
Well, since it started, I have not had that feeling, but getting it launched that was a big deal. It was a lot of work. And there's a moment, of course, people love to wait to deadline to tell you whether they're going to, advertise or not. And so getting it launched, I had these goals and just those last few days of trying to get those yeses in and knowing that we were going to launch at the place I wanted to launch. That was a lot of hard work. And I had a moment where I just broke down in tears. And it wasn't that I was discouraged necessarily, it was just that it was a lot of work and kind of overwhelming. And in those moments, I called other women who I knew had been in the same position with work and they just really talked me through it, and that was an incredible moment. And I think too, we as a society tend to have this look at hard work is, oh, it's just a lot. Well, it's okay that it's a lot and it should be hard because it's work. And so there's a reason they call it work. And so trying to embrace sometimes things are hard and that's okay. And you just keep going and keep doing it. Take a breather if you need to, but it's all worth it in the end.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very well said. The frustrating part is when you've done everything you can and it's you got to wait on someone else and it's out of your control. That's tough. You've done all you can and the waiting game starts. That's pretty tough right there. So kudos to you if you're pushing through because that is a tough thing when things are out of your control, but you made it through and look at you almost 2 years later. It's crazy. So is there an app or some technology you're using right now that's really helped your magazine?
So I feel really blessed to be with a parent company because they develop their own software for every magazine that's under their umbrella, and we are able to upload photos, editorial ads, and all of that through this technology. The production team then lays out the magazine, and it is, I've worked in magazines a long time, and so to be able to have this incredible software that puts everything in place, it's truly a godsend.
Man, that's awesome. Put it out there, you get all the stuff you need, and then put it all together. Man, we all need some of that in our life, right?
right?
Kind of a done for you stuff. How about on a personal side? Is there a routine or some habits that you do that have helped you become successful?
You know, I think going to bed early, I try to walk twice a day. And that itself is just, it creates a lot of balance. And waking up early and knowing the things that I need to get done that day, knowing the things that if I finish those things I need to get done that day, that I can move on and proactively start doing. And then the monthly cycle moves pretty quickly. I mean, I remember being a few months in and I looked at my husband and I said, so this is every month. So getting accustomed to that cycle to the point where we can plan far in advance. And it took a while because, when you launch, I mean, it's like, the racing gates have opened and here you go. Um, so it took a while to get to this place, but a very satisfying moment recently was when my publication director and I sat down and we looked at 2025 and we were able to say, wow, we already have this in place for March, this in place for April, this in place for May. And to know that looking ahead, we already have some major features in place was quite a load for sure.
That helps. That helps so much. Yeah, that long term planning. Like, hey, you've already got that, and you can work on other things. Then that frees you up to do other things.
Right.
Um, I know it takes a village to get these things going. But are there some people that kind of stand out who helped you become successful on your way to making this magazine work?
There are so many. I mean, truly so many from, of course, my staff who they share the same passion that I do for this magazine. And then, of course, all the writers and photographers who contributed and believed in this magazine. I mean, when I look at the people that came together because they were excited to be a part, it makes my heart swell with gratitude. It truly does. And then the readers, I mean, there's so many people who are just raving fans of this magazine because they enjoy it and they tell other friends about it. And every single time the magazine comes out, the messages and the text and the phone calls I get saying, I love this magazine. I love this issue. I thought last month was my favorite issue. Now I think this month is my favorite issue. Just every encouraging word just affirms the path that we're on.
That'll make you feel good right there. That all the hard work was worth it when you get those messages. That's so cool. So, and there's also a lot of these people. Are there some business leaders in Huntsville that you admire?
I mean, countless, countless. I will say Martha Pullen, who has of course walked this path. She ran so many magazines for so many decades, and then of people like Bobby Bradley, who are instrumental in this community, who have run businesses themselves and now are huge philanthropic leaders. There's just so many, too many to count, really.
That's a good answer right there, by the way. There is. If you've been around the city, there's so many awesome people out there. And if you've ever started a business, there's so many people that are very helpful out there that you wouldn't think they want to help you out though. It's a very collaborative environment we're in here. If you could, I know you're very connected already, but if there is a person or an organization you could connect it with this year that would help you out, was there someone you could think of?
Goodness. I would love to. We have in the past done some articles on our space program and different leaders in that industry. And I would truly love to engage more because there is so much going on here in Huntsville that resonates around the world. And so to be able to tell those stories in a really cool, creative way, that would be awesome.
I think we can make that happen. We know people around here. Get them connected with Amy. Get them with the space program there. Whatever she needs, get her what she needs. All right. That's what this podcast is all about. We're going to get you who you need because hey, Huntsville's so small. It's big, but it's small. So we can make that happen. So if someone came to you and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a business," what advice would you give that person?
I would say do not be afraid of hard work. Do not doubt yourself. There's plenty of times when you will, but look for those little signs along the way. Maybe it's an encouraging word from a friend. Maybe it's a stranger who stops you to tell you that they love what you do. But just know that it's hard work and there's going to be challenges. But to know in your heart that you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing, and to always look for those mentors, look for people who have been in your place, and maybe they're not in the exact same industry as you, but they're leaders in business and they've run a successful business. And me myself, I always try to give it to God. When things are hard, just ask for his help, and he seems to always be there. So,
Oh, that's great advice right there. It's going to get tough, and finding those little ways to keep yourself going is so important. And I've got an email file folder on mine that just says compliments. If someone says something nice about me, I'm going to save that, right? Because sometimes you need
oh, I
them for a
love
rainy day.
that.
Hey, every now and a rainy day fun right there. You can come in there and like, hey, at one time, because sometimes as a business owner, you're like, man, I'm terrible at this. I'm the worst. Oh yeah, here on this day at least I was awesome. That day I could be awesome again. So that's what I do on those. So I know
That's
people are saying, hey, where can I pick up this magazine? Where can they get the physical copy of the magazines first?
So it is direct mailed. And so we direct mail to households, doctors' offices, law offices, business lobbies. And then we have a certain amount of magazines that are sent to our office that we distribute to places like Honest Coffee, Green Bus, Mid City, Stovehouse, CVB, the hotels in town. And so we try to, right when the magazine comes out, get those stacks out where people can pick them up. But then we also replenish throughout the month too.
Go. All right. So that's how they get the physical one. How can they follow if they want to say, I want to be a part of this magazine? What's your website?
So if you go to citylifestyle.com and go to the Huntsville page, we have a beautiful website. And then also on social media, it's at huntsvillecitylifestyle.com,
And
or
they do a great,
not .com, but the handle.
that's it. And we'll link all that in show notes. You can just click on things. But hey, Amy, I'm so proud of you. It's been so cool to watch you go from kind of this barely a little idea to just open and running with it almost 2 years later. It's been cool to watch the process.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to know you too.
Ah, well, thank you, my friend. Well, cool kids flock together. You know that's how it works.
We try.
Hey, if you're listening right now, please share Amy's story. Go out there and get those magazines, get them in your office. Maybe you need to get direct mail. You want to be one of the cool kids too. So get that direct mail. Check out the website if you want to be a part of it, and go on social media. They do a great job on social media, kind of sharing these stories. If nothing else, go read about the lady from Home Depot. Man, it'll warm your heart. She did such an awesome job. So, Amy, thank you for the good work. You're now out here, kind of sharing the stories of the city. The city's it's getting bigger and bigger. So hearing these stories is so important to keep this kind of the small town vibe going for us. So appreciate what you're doing out there. Appreciate you guys listening. And we'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.